lot of the Japanese families banked at F&M Bank because they knew that he could be trusted because of what they did for my grandparents. So I thank Mr. Walker and the whole F&M Bank for just showing that gift of love. My name is Drake Yomogida. My grandparents are George and Ruth Yomogida. Grandma, she was born in Hawaii, and even though she was Japanese descent, she was an American. But Grandpa came over from Japan. When they came over, they wanted to live in Long Beach.
But see, it says in here in 1939,
Yeah.
the Venetian blinds and the house was built and the small magnolia tree in the front.
I know Grandma went to Mr. Walker and asked him if they can get a loan for the house. God bless Mr. Walker for setting that up, allowing them to have a home.
The war broke out in 1941 and they had had their house for at least a few years.
And then when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, it all changed. 5 weeks later, they got a letter that said, "You need to be on this train." And you got 3 days to get on that train. They had businesses, they had a house, they had cars, and it was a gigantic swap meet that was going on. They didn't even know how long they were gonna go for or where this train was going. They got on the train and they went to Santa Anita racetrack and they actually lived in the stables.
And then they were shipped off to Arkansas, their whole family. They were in that relocation camp behind barbed wire with armed guards for 3 years. 120,000 Japanese were relocated from just the West Coast, just by their looks.
But praise God for F&M Bank because Mr. Walker and all of his employees said, "You know what, you will not lose your home. We will keep the home for you." And that was 3 years, unheard of.
They were very influential and very helpful to the Japanese community in Long Beach.
When they had to leave, they put all of their belongings into the garage, but people knew that they weren't coming back. And so people broke into the garage and just stole everything. The police caught the person who stole everything. And so the police brought the person to my grandfather, knocked on the door, and my grandfather, he's so forgiving. He said, "This man has a family too. The war is over. Let him go." And he forgave that man. And things went on during the war that was not right, but they just moved on and go forward. They used their house that F&M Bank and Mr. Walker helped keep for them after 3 years to help other people that did not have a place to stay. The Japanese people would find out that they could go to the George and Ruth's house and there was always a pot of spaghetti on the stove. They always had a hot meal and they could spend the night on the floor until they got onto their feet.
My aunt said she would look out the blinds and she would see all these people coming with suitcases and they would leave their suitcases on my grandparents' front yard for the day. Well, they went to look for a place to live or a job or something. And if they couldn't find it, they would come and sleep at my grandmother's house. So that home ended up being a home for the whole Yomogida family, but also for people that they knew that needed help.
The Yomogidas are very well known in Long Beach because of all that outreach that they did.
As small as it was very instrumental in helping not just them, but a lot of the Japanese Americans trying to come back to their lives. It's still there today. It's still family owned. They really carried that through.
I mean, Mr. Walker, he really reached out to the immigrants. He didn't have to do that for my grandparents. The blessings of the home and every person that they touched, planting a seed and then seeing the tree grow.